Berserker fighter style, electrifying knockouts, and a flawless 100% finishing rate.
Huge shots in for Mantas! He's unloading! And he fires back! How is Jack Comi standing a flying knee?
Mantas Kondratavičius embodies the kind of fighter who takes no prisoners. At just 26, this KO artist from Lithuania needed only 66 seconds to deliver a murderous showcase on Dana White's Contender Series 2025. Earning his golden ticket to the big league. With 8 wins and 8 finishes, let's take a look at how Mantas carved his path through pure violence all the way to a UFC contract. Mantas Kondratavičius was born on July 17, 1999, in Kaunas, Lithuania. He has been passionate about sports since childhood and recalls that in the first 3 years of his training, he never missed a single workout. Mantas began his journey as a kickboxer, yet his real fascination was always with MMA. As a teenager, he would watch the UFC on TV religiously. But the moment that truly hooked him came when he saw Conor McGregor knock out Jose Aldo in just 13 seconds. From the very first clips, his style gave off strong Jean-Claude Van Damme vibes. Clearly, this was a young man who had studied the classics a few too many times. On the feet, he moved like a rabbit in a carrot field, quick, alert, and relentless, peppering his opponent's body and head with crisp combinations. And whenever the window opened, he was more than willing to supply his own entry for the annual Body Shot highlight reel. Never one to limit himself, the Lithuanian even dipped into the uncharted waters of boxing to test his skills in what's often called the hardest sport in the world. There, he showcased his sharp hands without relying on his kicks, and went toe-to-toe with seasoned professionals who had been punching for a living long before he arrived. After years of wandering across the landscape of combat sports, sampling and refining different disciplines, the hard-hitting Lithuanian finally chose the path of MMA, determined to pour 100% of his focus into mastering the all-around fight game. When he swapped the ring for the cage, the violence didn't skip a beat. He racked up 4 wins as an amateur, each one adding fuel to his growing reputation. The hype train wasn't just real, it was running full steam through the MMA amateur stage, smashing through opponents and expectations alike before finally turning professional on February 21, 2021. Interestingly, he won his first professional bout via submission, an unexpected twist for a man known for stand-up fireworks.
These guys are just taking turns, exchanging on each other. Oh, big right hand lands for Mantas!
But soon enough, he reminded everyone why his striking is as deadly as a shot from a Desert Eagle gun. His punches cracked like rifle rounds, his knees like swinging wrecking balls. Each exchange proved that the cage suited him even better than the ring ever had. On January 22, 2022, the Lithuanian striker appeared in the local AFC League in what would be his 3rd MMA dance. Standing across from him was Jack Comi, undefeated as a pro, with 2 finishes in as many fights, and carrying the aura of a man who'd never been broken. From the opening bout, Mantas showed his intentions in a firefight, letting his hands go with bad intentions, but the enemy sought refuge in the clinch. On the break, the kickboxer delivered a heavy bomb over the top and kept generating heat from the back foot. His rhythm, a mixture of calculated chaos and cold precision, began to chip away at Comi's defenses. The opposition expected a traditional boxing combo, but instead walked right into a textbook elbow. And before you know it, a merciless all-out war broke out. Kondratavičius invested in heavy knees, but Jack's head proved tougher than a concrete wall. Every strike was a question, every grimace an answer. In the closing 30 seconds of the fight, the Lithuanian put his foot on the pedal and drove through him like a stolen truck. He initiated a brawl so fierce, the enemy gladly accepted the trade-off. The waltz of the living dead continued in the second round from the moment go. A storm of fists, knees, and ambition clashed in the cage. Mantas dragged his prey against the cage and started unloading with ill intent. At this point, the antagonist survived the onslaught with nothing but instinct and stubbornness. After 9 minutes of violent exchanges, the agonizing Jack Comi sank in like the Titanic cracked in half. This back-and-forth war would be remembered as one of the craziest, most competitive clashes outside the big leagues. A fight that turned local fans into believers.
Huge shots in for Mantas! He's unloading! And he fires back! How is Jack Comi standing a flying knee?
Next on Mantas' hit list was the undefeated Brazilian, Al Joseph, known as Donatello. The Lithuanian went 0 to mayhem in under 3 seconds, swinging like he was late to war. It looked like a scene from a horror film, only this time the opponent just couldn't escape the monster. One moment, he was standing tall. The next, he was horizontal and with a dislocated shoulder. Kondratavicius wanted to improve his record to 5-0 by the end of 2022, so he accepted a showdown with the Moldavian fighter Nikolai Garbuz. The foe promised to offer some resistance, but instead fell victim to a beheading flying knee that shut his lights off in an instant. No follow-up was needed. Nikolai's fuse box switches tripped all at once. By then, Mantas wasn't just a prospect anymore. He was becoming a highlight reel with gloves on. A Lithuanian storm, rewriting his own legend one finish at a time.
And remember, this is in slow motion. A flying knee right to the side of the jaw, his legs give out on him.
Going 6-1 as a professional, with not a single opponent surviving to hear the final bell, Mantas' reputation had already crossed borders and landed firmly on British soil. The highlight reels spoke louder than any press release, and his name began circulating in gyms and offices far from Lithuania. In 2025, the hard-hitting Lithuanian was welcomed to Cage Warriors, an Irish-owned promotion company based in London, England. This was no small step. Cage produced MMA legends like Conor McGregor, Michael Bisping, Dan Hardy, Gegard Mousasi, and many more. And just like that, Mantas went from eliminating bots on the regional circuit to facing some of the toughest prospects in Europe. On March 14th, the brawler chosen to welcome him to the big league was Michael Chamu, a ruthless slugger with a 100% finishing rate. The Cameroonian knew the danger of trading dynamite in the center of the cage, so he attempted to drag the fight into deep waters, testing whether the Lithuanian could swim when the tide turned. However, the striker defended with composure and poise, leaving the enemy with no option but to accept the battle on Mantas' terms. And that's when the Lithuanian struck with surgical precision, delivering a KO so clean, the Ghost left with its hands up. The whole affair took just 47 seconds, and another masterpiece was added to Mantas' growing gallery of destruction. In one night, he proved he wasn't just a prospect, he was a headline waiting to happen. That KO echoed through the Atlantic Ocean, straight to Dana White's ears. The UFC boss could no longer ignore such a talent and handed him the opportunity to participate in Dana White's Contender Series 2025. This was the moment of truth for the young talent, a chance to show the MMA world that his dominance wasn't limited to Europe's regional scene, but could extend to the sport's highest stage.
Makes the stoppage, and there really can't be any arguing with that one. Bam, straight down the pipe. Ragdoll physics. Yeah, the follow-up shots here, much of a muchness as the referee.
On September 23, 2025, Kondratavicius was scheduled to face the Croatian prospect Johnny Barbier. Barbier was a different kind of animal, or more precisely, from the same breed as Mantas. He held an undefeated 7-0 record with 4 knockouts and 3 submission victories, and no opponent had ever survived to hear the final bell against him either. This was a collision course between two finishers, a test to see whose fire would burn hotter. Both men entered as warriors. Only one would leave as a legend. They opened the bout like two pit bulls off the leash. The Lithuanian channeled his inner Dagestani and muscled the adversary down to the mat, showing an underappreciated layer of his game. The action fighters returned to their feet and let the haymakers fly, fists slicing the air like blades. Mantas steered his victim into an ambush with a push kick and set the trap perfectly. Then, in the blink of an eye, he dropped the curtain with a knockout that echoed through the arena, slicing even the rowdiest fans. The undefeated Croatian fought valiantly but couldn't bulldoze through the violent gunplay. The UFC boss was clearly entertained with this performance. More than entertained, he was convinced. he handed Mantas the golden ticket to the most prestigious organization in the world. In one night, the Lithuanian striker had transformed from Europe's most dangerous secret into the UFC's newest nightmare.
Just walk forward to the middle.
Nice front kick by Kondratavicius.
You make it sound.
Stop.
Mantas Kondratavičius is arguably the hottest MMA prospect on the planet right now. An explosive force with the potential to disrupt the very top of the UFC's middleweight hierarchy. Armed with razor-sharp kickboxing, one-punch knockout power, and a surprisingly sturdy defensive grappling toolbox, this Lithuanian prodigy is a nightmare matchup for anyone, including divisional elites like Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. The real question isn't whether Mantas belongs in the UFC, it's just how good this young European phenom really is. At only 26 years old, still years away from his physical prime, he's evolving with every camp, sharpening his weapons and expanding his arsenal. It's becoming increasingly clear that Kondratavicius isn't just another prospect. He's a genuine threat to the division's food chain. And when the inevitable title opportunity comes knocking, you can bet he'll be more than ready to seize the moment and snatch that gold from whoever holds it. If you enjoyed the video, front kick that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the Dialed In MMA Club today.